starting off with number 1, we've got Grandview Heights. Looking at this map here on niche.com, we can see Grandview Heights really isn't too big. Now, the thing that makes it so unique and perfect for millennials and Gen Zs is, well, its proximity to the city and just to urban lifestyle. With only around 8,000 people that live in the suburb, it's not going to be too overcrowded or just overbearing. I know how it feels when there's just so many people living in proximity to one another. I lived in a refugee camp. But with that being said, being able to have that close-knit community and that sense of camaraderie is still apparent. And I think so many people need both the combination of having time alone and that sense of community that we all so long for. But looking at this map again from niche.com, we can see a few things. Number 1, we can see that the size is not too big. Number 2, we can see that there's a ton of parks and recreational opportunities. I mean, you've got Wyman's Wood Park here. You've also got Sea Ray's Buck Park right over there. And super close in terms of proximity, the second place that we're gonna go over, hint hint, you've got Upper Arlington right here. But what's really unique is its proximity to Columbus as a city. You can just go on 670 here and then just take I-71 and you're there. And one of those things is the Easton Town Center. I mean, you've got the Easton Town Mall right there, but you're able to go out to these malls, hang out with your friends and do all those fun things, and that's what makes it unique. Coupling with this, you've also got Nationwide Arena as well, and this is a place where a ton of concerts happen, a lot of just activities, and is also home to the Columbus Blue Jacket and the National Hockey League. In terms of the cost of living, as we can see here, the average price, according to Zillow, is going to be around $448,000, and new construction homes are going to be just below the $700,000 to $800,000 mark range. Now, that's pretty expensive, especially compared to, well, other areas like even Cleveland, for example, which is definitely cheaper. But what you're giving for the higher cost, which is still under $500,000, you're getting for all the amenities. And that's the one key point that I really want to talk about. And again, according to just niche.com, this is ranked as the #1 best suburbs for young professionals in all of Ohio and ranked 25th as the best place for young professionals to just overall live. With rankings of 28 as the best public schools in all of Ohio, you know that number 1, when you have kids, they're getting the education that they deserve. And number 2, well, you're gonna find a lot of other like-minded individuals in a similar proximity. And if you work in downtown Columbus, you've got the trail right there and public transport as well. Obviously the one thing, right, our public transport has not grown to the level that we want it to grow, which is a downside. But, well, government does understand this, and as more companies make that maneuver and traverse to Ohio to make it their resting ground and home, well, you can only bet the money will go into the infrastructure that's needed. So that covers place number 1. Let's go into place number 2. Ranked 13th out of 700 places as the best place to live in Ohio. Ranked 9 out of 350 as the best suburban for young professionals. Welcome to Upper Arlington. Located on the northwest side of Columbus's metro area, only about a 10-minute drive from downtown, Upper Arlington is the place to go. Known for its safety, family-friendly environment, and ample green space, Upper Arlington is slowly but surely becoming one of the places where everyone in Columbus is looking at to make it their place of living. Although one of the most wealthiest suburbs in all of Ohio, Upper Arlington still has places that are definitely within reach for millennials and Gen Zs as well. Deemed as one of the most expensive and wealthiest places in all of Ohio, Upper Arlington still has places and affordable housing options for millennials and Gen Zs. There's definitely going to be homes that are more expensive and also less expensive. So you're also getting, number 1, a really family-friendly environment. Number 2, you're getting a proximity to Columbus that's like none other. And number 3, you get over 23 parks in a very small and secluded location. You have the opportunity to go out and enjoy all the urban lifestyles that you're looking for, while coupling that with just enjoying the nature and enjoying parks and recreational opportunities with your family. I think both of those things are really cool. When we helped a couple move here from Florida because it was too hot, we were looking at schools. And I'm not saying this school is great, this school is bad, but according to niche.com, we can get some criteria and understanding of how the schools are in Upper Arlington. Because again, as we can see here, it's ranked as 4 out of 600 as the best school district for athletes, ranked 6th as the best place for tech, and 17th for district with the best teachers in Ohio. What these numbers mean for us is, well, with our kids going to school and with our kids needing education, this place is that place for it. Obviously, we've got Mount Carmel Nursing. We've got fantastic educational facilitations for collegiate level education with the Ohio State. But what about middle school? What about high school? What about kindergarten? We want to make sure all of these things are taken care of. And with an overall niche rating of A, you get a ton of opportunities and the level of comfort that so many people seek. With A+ academics, A+ teachers, and A-level clubs and activities, kids are getting the opportunity to, number one, do things that they want to do, like play basketball and football and dance and sing, and also learning the way that they're supposed to. So the question becomes, is the price tag worth it for you? Are you willing to pay a little bit more if you know you're getting the best education possible? And if you know your neighbors are people like you, people that seek community, people that want a safe and quiet place to live for themselves and maybe even their growing families. As more and more developments happen with Intel and with merchants buildings and so many other things, well, places like Upper Arlington are going to become one of the hubs for individuals that are working in tech, for families that want to make families and life and memories. So if that sounds like you, are you willing to pay that pretty penny to live here? Let me know in the comments below. I'm kind of curious. And last but most definitely not least, this is probably the most popular out of the three places that we've talked about, and that's going to be Dublin. Yep, Dublin's really well known, so I'm not going to go too deep into just, well, the boring schematics behind it, but there are a few things that make it super unique, at least from my perspective. Number one, the median home price right now is hovering around the 540 mark. Give or take, you obviously have the ability to negotiate with individuals as well. In terms of real estate market conditions, as what we're noticing now in September and going into October, well, homes are not as actively selling as they used to. And there's a few reasons for this. Number one, it's an election year. That tends to catapult itself with new policies and new infringements that potentially could play a massive effect. Number two, the rates are still pretty high. Although they're steady around the 6% mark right now, we do see sometimes they go all the way up to the 8s. And people, well, obviously with inflation as it is, it's going to be difficult to make those purchases, well, accessible. So what this means for you and the real estate community is, well, there's more opportunities to negotiate as a buyer, get even rate buy downs, and negotiate seller concessions to make sure that you're walking away with the best deal possible. But again, as we can see here from niche.com, it has a A+ overall rating with an A+ in public schools, A- in housing, and A+ for good in family, and B's overall. Dublin is a safe place to live. With a population size of about 50,000 right now, we do notice that there's a lot of influx that's happening. And what's interesting is niche.com, if we look here with the median home value, it's actually lower than what Zillow is saying. And that's simply due to the nature of so much movement happening in the real estate environment. If we look at the map of Dublin here, what we notice is very simply this. In terms of proximity to Columbus, it's going to be a little bit longer of a drive compared to the other two suburban areas. And people want this. When we think about families that are just looking for that suburban lifestyle with really good schools, they look at Dublin. And combining with this, if you do want to go out for a night out or just go to the city for a stroll, it's still not that far away. But collecting all of this, you also tend to get amenities like the Dublin Irish Festival. And combining, you also get Bridge Street District as well, a really vibrant and communitive area. So a lot of really cool things are happening from both the standpoint of education and activities to do with our family. And the final thing that I want to talk about Dublin is this. There's multiple headquarters for massive companies that reside here. Companies like Wendy's and Nestle are both making this their home. So you know, in terms of job availability, this is going to be the place for it. But those are the three places that I wanted to discuss. We've got really fantastic schools, we've got really good activities to do, and just homes that are not too expensive. From Grandview Heights to Upper Arlington and Dublin, all three of these choices are absolutely fantastic if you are, well, younger and you are looking to make someplace your home. If you have children, still fantastic. And if you already have a family and you're just looking to go to the best educational places, all of this is being taken into account. The question isn't if you want these places, it's where do you want these places? And depending on which one you like, well, they all have different things that make them unique. Dublin is going to be a little bit further away. Upper Arlington is going to be a little bit more expensive, and Grandview Heights is not going to have the same education as the two other places. So all of these factors take into consideration, dependent on what you want, which one of these is going to be the best fit. We would love the opportunity to answer any questions you have about these. All of our information is going to be linked down below. Thank you so much for watching the entirety of the video. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you wanting to learn about Columbus. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment too. All right, now really, peace.